All right, we are back. Chris Mannix, Rachel Nichols, Fox Sports 1, All the Smoke, Monumental Sports Network, and right here on this show every single week. And Rachel, I have to ask you, do you know any more Antetokounmpos that Milwaukee can sign? Are you aware of, is there another?
I think that the children, I mean, Giannis almost has his own basketball team, kid-wise.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's time for one of those kids to step up and play because Milwaukee would absolutely sign them.
What do we think of that? Like the Bucks, I mean, this is, I love how nakedly transparent Milwaukee is about what their primary objective is. And that is to make Giannis as happy as possible. They already brought Thanasis back. He's been part of their team for many years now. Now you bring Alex in on a two-way deal, who's been part of them before, I think, right, with the herd and what they've done. So you're just bringing everybody in Giannis's orbit as close to him as possible.
Well, this is a question, right? I actually had a league office person posit to me, we're talking about investigating the Clippers for benefits with Kawhi Leonard. Mm-hmm. There's a legal way that is completely within the rules. I am not in any way implying that the Bucks are skirting the rules. They are not. There are all kinds of ways to make a player happy and give extra benefits. And one of those benefits apparently is signing family members. So I don't know who is in Kawhi's circle. If possibly that's Clippers, the route the Clippers should have taken.
No, but they did. So Kawhi's closest friend from back in the day is a guy named Jeremy Castleberry, who went to Toronto when Kawhi went to Toronto and has found himself on the Clippers bench now that they're. And Jeremy, I'm sure, is a good basketball mind, but he's been
as an assistant coach, sort of coaching person.
As an assistant coach. So he has been part of that Kawhi universe everywhere he's gone. Yeah. So, you know, they've done that too.
Yes.
In addition.
But that, I mean, look, we know that that's happened for decades across different teams with different players. Yeah. Oh, you hire my guy to do X or Y. We've had public relations.
LeBron did in Cleveland for a long time.
We've had trainers move around. Yep. Obviously, you know, his personal athletic trainer with the Lakers is someone who's been with him for years and years, several teams through. We've had PR guys we know who've moved with certain players who've suddenly joined the PR staffs of different teams. And, you know, brothers.
Hey, Jalen Brunson's dad on the staff in New York. So this is a way to legally circumvent the cap, not whatever it is the Clippers allegedly did. But that's a story for another day. We haven't spoken since the news broke that LeBron, speaking of LeBron, was dealing with sciatica in his right leg. It's going to cost him 3 to 4 weeks. By my calculations, that's around 5 to 10 games during the regular season.
Well, they said reevaluated.
Reevaluate, you're right. That's assuming if there's no setbacks, you know, maybe he can be back in that time frame. When I've talked to people within the Lakers, I'm not getting an overwhelming sense of panic yet. I think there's obviously concern about, you know, where this could go if it lasts any longer. And certainly I think that concern is probably ratcheted up some when you learn that LeBron's been dealing with this since late July. That's a long time to be dealing with injury that you're still not completely over. But the Lakers right now, from what I can gather, are not pressing the panic button on LeBron James yet. Do you think they should? Do you think this is the kind of thing that we should be concerned about?
You can't panic about anything in October. If you are, you're in the wrong business. Sciatica is an old man injury, much like you yourself. I like when we're in studio because I can see your old man injuries.
I have my old basketball injury that has caused me to be walking around in a walking boot for a couple of weeks now. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Getting old does suck.
This is what happens, right? And
LeBron and I are in our 40s. You know, it's
you and I often put you and LeBron in the same basketball category.
I do. My career peaked sophomore year of high school. His career is still peaking.
Look, this is a question, right? We've never had somebody try to play as much at the level that he does at the age that he is. I mean, I covered Michael Jordan when he was 40 in Washington, D.C., and he wasn't doing what LeBron is trying to be doing this year. So is this a sign that we're going to be seeing him in and out of the lineup more with more injuries? I mean, certainly he has been injured more in the last 5 years of his career than he had been in the greater sense than in the entire career prior to that. And this is what happens as you age. As much as he likes to do the commercials with Father Time does end up winning ultimately. So I think one of the big questions for the Lakers isn't so much panic. It's just, where does this affect the comfort level of guys playing together. Where does it affect the rhythm that guys get into? Obviously, defensively, it's going to make them different defensively on the court. Some might posit it might make them better defensively on the court. I think it depends on, with LeBron, that always depends on what effort he's putting forward, right? If he's going at max, he's a completely different player. It's up to him. It's his decision. But what will happen then when he tries to work his way back in? I thought what Luka said in his first press availability after the announcement came, he said, he helps us, of course. I've never heard LeBron described by a teammate as, well, he helps us when he's on the court, but we'll be fine without him. I thought that was pretty fascinating, and just yet another, it was a tiny sentence. Luka meant nothing by it, but it was just a good little indicator of where we are at this point in LeBron's career. And also, interestingly, because it's reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks, as opposed to we know he'll be out 3 to 4 weeks, how does this affect All-NBA? Because it's a 65-game minimum. You'd have to think he's probably going to miss some other games this season. The Lakers have talked about not having him play as much during the regular season, more of a minutes restriction, maybe not going every game that he possibly could go. The fact that he is still, quote, playing at an All-NBA level, that he made All-NBA last year, that has been a real calling card of, no, LeBron's still good, right? He still deserves that big salary that he wants. Well, it's going to be hard for him to make All-NBA if you start out the season missing that many games.
Yeah, I think the problems are twofold. One is what you're talking about. Just dealing with this, making sure it doesn't become chronic, making sure it's not costing him weeks at a time during the season. That's an obvious level of concern. I think the second part of it is the Lakers have a lot of new pieces they're trying to work in. DeAndre Ayton's there, Marcus Smart's there, Jake LaRavia is there, among others. And for the first time in his career, LeBron is beginning a season as a number 2 option. So you want to have all these guys out on the floor to start to develop some chemistry. I think that could be problematic as he gets back into the mix. I do think the silver lining, though, is the Lakers don't want him playing a lot anyway. Last year's numbers are untenable this season. 70 games, 35 minutes per game. Can't do that. Can't do that and expect to have any success. So I think there's, the All-NBA conversation aside, I think there's a argument the Lakers could make that, hey, if we're keeping him out of games in October and into November, and we're kind of easing him back into the season, into Christmas, for the betterment of our chances to win something in May and June, that may be more helpful to them.
Yeah. Again, if it works out, great. Yeah. And certainly less wear and tear on his body is something they've been trying to get him to do for seasons. He didn't play that much last season because the Lakers wanted him to. Yeah. He played that much because he wanted to.
It is a perennial problem. Frank Vogel passed it down to Darvin Ham, who passed it down to JJ Redick, who admitted last season they made some mistakes early on with LeBron, playing him a little bit too much, especially in the preseason.
Yep. So we're clearly not going to get that. I don't know how his golf game affected any of this. I've seen him play golf since July, so
golf.
We'll see if he's still playing golf. I was going to say, we'll see if he's still playing golf through the season, or maybe we put that on hold until next summer.
Yeah, I think we might. I don't know if we can blame the golf on that. It's a little less tax than playing professional basketball. It is just the preseason, but there have been some interesting storylines this preseason, especially when it comes to 2 of the teams that I've looked at as the most intriguing teams entering the season. That's Orlando and San Antonio. Both these teams starting the preseason undefeated. The Spurs blew the doors off a couple of teams recently. I was watching Philadelphia this week. Orlando beat up on the 76ers. People look at the Magic and they're saying that's a team that can compete for an Eastern Conference championship. People look at San Antonio and saying that could be a team that, competes not just for a play-in spot, but right there in the thick of the playoff mix. Which of these 2 teams in the preseason have you been more impressed by? What do you read? Do you read more into the way Orlando's opened up the preseason, how San Antonio has, how neither of them have? How do you look at it?
I'm more interested in what's going on in San Antonio just because I don't know quite what they are yet. I don't know how good Dylan Harper's going to be and how ready he's going to be for this season. He's incredibly promising, right? And there's a reason they didn't trade the pick. He's fulfilled a lot of the early talk about him. I know when you talk to people around that franchise that they're excited about him and excited about not just who he is on the court, but the kind of kid he is and the way he fits into the organization. I am still trying to figure out how all those pieces are going to fit together. And so watching their preseason, watching Victor Wembanyama, who anyone who listens to this pod knows is one of my favorite players to watch play basketball already, being able to see where they fit in a West that is, as we keep talking about ad nauseum, is so competitive, right? Because you're sitting here and saying two teams. One, we're wondering, could they represent the Eastern Conference? The other, we're wondering, will they make it into the main playoff draw? If those two teams were switched conferences, wouldn't you be saying the exact same thing in the exact opposite direction?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just sort of fascinating to me. With Orlando, I mean, how much, because you've been so high on them this entire summer and going into this season, how much does the Jalen Suggs injury bother you in terms of how you're predicting them going?
It bothers me. They need him. No doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a concern right now. But I'm watching Desmond Bane fit in as seamlessly, it seems, as we expected him to.
Yep.
Paolo is going to be an all-star this year. Franz Wagner could be an all-star this year. Like, they've got a big three that can compete with any big three in the Eastern Conference. I'm also, the guy I've watched and I'm most impressed by because I wasn't expecting is Wendell Carter.
Yes.
Like, Wendell Carter is out there looking like prime Elton Brand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's got some like Al Horford to his game. Like, there's just, he's rebounding, he's defending the rim, he's making, mid-range. Like, he is emerging as a terrific fourth option with that group. So if that is, and he's been on the rise for a couple of years now, but if that is what they can expect from him, this guy in the preseason who's doing a lot of great things, that team's going to go a long way. Yes, they need Suggs, no question about it. A huge part of what they do in their backcourt, because even though they've had some good play from a few different guys, I think he's got to be the mainstay or a mainstay in that backcourt. He's just
such a head of the snake on defense too. I mean, he's just such an anchor for them there. So
yeah.
And what is the word in terms of? I mean, I thought that I would be seeing him right now.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the timeline's going to be for him, but they need him. There's no question they need him. But that front court is locked. Wagner, Paolo, Wendell Carter, Bane has been good. I mean, they've just got a whole bunch of guys that are doing really solid things. Like, I just look, I was bullish on them before I saw them play in the preseason. Having seen them play in the preseason, there's no reason for me to come off my pick of them to make the conference finals. Like, I believe it. And look, defensively, they are so physical. They are so physical. They beat you up on the defensive end. And then the other end, they chase down every single damn offensive rebound. They are so aggressive on the offensive glass. Like, you're going to leave a game against the Orlando Magic banged up. Like, they are going to out-physical you every single night.
And great home court advantage also typically, so.
Yeah, is it?
Weren't they the ones who played so well at home, or are they the opposite?
Oh, I mean, no, they might play at home. I haven't. I don't know if I'd rank them. We're going to get to the home court advantage.
No.
Yes.
I just mean one of the. Okay, I'm going to have to go back and now look this up. But I think they had either a great home record or a great. I thought they had a great home record last year.
They might have, yes.
No, I mean, what's interesting, I mean, you talk about seeing them play against Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia didn't have half its team on the court in the game that you
right now. They're still working things out.
Yes, but watching Wendell Carter, what did he drop 20 in that game?
Too, I think no, in Indiana. Played somebody else. I forget who it was, but yeah.
He dropped 20 in that game, Wendell Carter Jr. I mean, it's impressive.
He's doing some special things, and if he can be that Elton Brand type guy in the front court, that's big for them. San Antonio is ridiculous. Like, Wembanyama, we're both in on. But one thing Wembanyama's been doing, that he's doing the Giannis thing, right? Like, he's dropping the shoulder and just bowling guys over. We saw him do it against Luke Cornett, a teammate in the black-white scrimmage they had.
Yep.
I was watching parts of their game.
Made Luke Cornett look like a puppet.
Just ragdolled him. Yep. Ragdolled him. I watched the game against Indiana. I forget who he did it to, but he did the same thing. Just dropped the shoulder and mowed guys down. This is something that the Spurs coaching staff has been hammering him about, for a while now. Like, you've got the strength.
Yeah.
Like, you're no longer this rail-thin rookie. You're a third-year guy who's put on a lot of muscle this offseason. You can do this. Bowl guys over. His decision-making has been better. Like, our SI's the top 100 came out. I had him in the top 5. I think he's a top 5 player in the NBA right now. No
totally
question
agree.
about it. Dylan Harper, though. Dylan Harper's the truth.
That's what I'm talking about.
Is the truth. Like, I know we're all excited about Cooper Flagg, and I'm among the people excited about him. Like, I think did the Mavs started at point guard recently? Like, he's going to be able to do a lot of different things.
He's already doing all the things.
Tons of things for them. But Dylan Harper's the truth.
That's what I'm talking about.
The Spurs, for the last couple of months, they've been like quietly fist pumping, in San Antonio, being like, we know what we got. We know this kid can play. And watching him in the preseason, 19 years old, looking like he's 25 in terms of strength, the quick first step, the burst, the aggressive to finish at the rim, the chemistry is already developing with Victor Wembanyama. Like, this kid is the real deal. I think Mitch Johnson's toughest challenge in the first well, he's not going to have this challenge early on because De'Aaron Fox is out with that hamstring injury. But when De'Aaron Fox comes back, you got to find minutes for Dylan Harper. You're going to have to play these 3-guard lineups with Stephen Castle, who also needs to play big minutes. Like that team is legit. I think their learning curve is going to be very short. Like they are going to be really good really quickly, even in that conference.
Well, that's why to me, when you posit between those two teams, which is the most interesting to watch right now as you watch preseason basketball, look, for me, it's the Spurs only because I think there's a real big swing on how good they could be with the Magic, really by virtue of, they were a team that was complete enough before Bane got there that we all know that Bane getting there, what he unlocks and what he turns them into. And the East just isn't as interesting. The path is more clear. We know where they're going to be. You think they're going to be in the conference finals. I'm curious of the other two favorites to be in the conference finals, the Knicks and the Cavs, who you think isn't getting there.
I think the Knicks, I'm a little less optimistic about the Knicks, only because I got to see this new...
Because you're from Boston, or no?
No, I got to see this new Mike Brown motion offense in action. I think it's great in the preseason to see guys kind of flying around, dribble handoffs, no dribbles, pass. It looks great. It looks great. But I've said this before, offense was not the Knicks' problem last year. They were top 5 in offensive efficiency. You may hate the way they do it, but they were able to ground out points at an efficient rate. And look, Jalen Brunson, over the last couple of years, in that offense, turned into an all-NBA guard, an all-star starter, all those things. Is Jalen Brunson going to be fully comfortable in a system that might see the ball taken out of his hands more? Now, it's theoretically for the greater good. Maybe makes them more diverse in the playoffs, but I need to see that in action first. I've also been less optimistic about the Jordan Clarkson stuff. Jordan Clarkson, if this was 5 years ago, I would have been more bullish on Jordan Clarkson, but his shooting percentages have gone down as of late. Gershon Yabusele, okay, great numbers last year for a really bad 76ers team. I just need to see it. I need to see it more on the court. There's obviously questions about Orlando, but that defense, it's going to travel, right? That defense is going to make them tough against everybody. If they're going to grind out games in the 90s, the way that the old 90s teams ground out games in the 80s, they're going to be tough to beat in the postseason.
Yeah, no, I agree. But again, I know more who they are. So I'm interested to see them through the season. I'm excited about them. They've got a lot of talent on that team that's not just sort of, it's cool, but it's going to be great to watch them now with that energy of Bane, because some of their offense was so difficult to watch last year.
Painful.
And this year good, these guys are going to get unlocked and it's going to be a more exciting watch to watch the Magic than it was before. But the Spurs to me are the question mark of where they're going to end up. And I think they could end up taking a bigger leap this season than a lot of other people are picking them at.
I agree. I could easily see them making the playoffs without the play-in. I could see them as a 6 seed, maybe in a 5 seed, if everybody can stay healthy. I'm fascinated to see what the Spurs do with those 3-headed monsters. Look, it's crazy. They just signed De'Aaron Fox to a 4-year extension. De'Aaron Fox is a really good player. He is an all-star caliber guy, but it's clear the future of this team is Dylan Harper and Stephen Castle.
But that's a team where, as they're constructed right now, is not going to be the team that we eventually see, right? So they've got the capital, we already know, to make moves. That Fox signing is just as much to lock him up into a contract as it is to say, he's our point guard of the future. So that's a team.
If they knew, look, we all know the Fox deal was made with the understanding that this was the deal that he was going to get. That's how it works in the NBA. Would they have done the deal if they knew they were getting Dylan Harper with that number? Where they kept their... they didn't give up a ton to go get Fox.
I was going to say, I don't think they gave up that much. Yeah. I think obviously it didn't work out because of the injury situation with Wembanyama, but I think that if Wembanyama had been able to play through the rest of the season, having someone like Fox there would have really helped his development and also just his satisfaction on the team. Because, it's so interesting. There was all this chatter around Luka in Dallas for years, right? Oh, they better keep Luka happy. That timeline ticks faster than you think. Oh, it's a good thing they made the finals because Luka would have started looking around. Even after they dealt him, we heard some of the sort of, I hate to say the word propaganda, but let's just call it what it was, propaganda out of the Dallas front office that was about he might not have signed it, he might not have signed the big deal, all of that stuff, because there was this sort of chatter of, is Luka going to be happy if they don't succeed, right? He's on a mission. I'm not sure Luka Doncic was as much on a mission at that age as Victor Wembanyama is. Victor Wembanyama seems like the kind of guy who wants to see progress. And I think that they needed to have Fox there to sort of bring that progress that was expected had he played out the rest of the season. I think that it's a contract now that, especially as the CBA, as we march forward into this new TV money era and the salary cap just keeps going up, that will be a tradable contract. I just think they know that was a move that wasn't necessarily locking in Victor Wembanyama's partner for the next 10 years.
But you think about it, is there any team in the league, I would say Oklahoma City would be the only argument that has a big three you would take other than San Antonio's. And I'm just going to put Fox in. Fox, Harper, Wemby.
I'm taking Victor Wembanyama. I don't care if Victor Wembanyama is playing with you and me, and you're in that walking boot that you're wearing right now. That's the one I'm taking to start my team.
Still make some corner threes.
You know.
All right.
Were you part of that Celtics Celtics front office game?
Oh God. We can't get into that.
We have to.
That was so embarrassing.
Just for the people who didn't see it, explain what happens.
The Celtics usually sponsor a media versus media game at the practice facility. They do it every year. I never played in it, but the local guys do it. There's some decent players in Boston. John Corrales, I think, played ball. Jay King can play, not as well as he thinks he can, but Jay King can play pretty well.
Shots fired.
This year, apparently, they made it a media versus Celtics coaches game. And the final score of this game was 57-4. 57-4. Fellas, you get 4 points. I don't care if you get 57. I know guys like Phil Pressey are playing, and this guy's not that far removed from being an NBA level player. 4 points, man.
4.
That's brutal.
But this is always funny to me when fans, and by the way, the media are just, when fans are like, oh, you put me out there and come on, guys. That's not.
Well, Scal does this, Brian Scalabrine, all the time, where fans challenge him thinking he's just this big dopey guy that they could beat. No, not going to happen. Scal whoops up on them every day of the week. And I will never get tired of watching fans think they can beat Brian Scalabrine. All right. Last week, I reported in my newsletter that everyone should subscribe to that the Jazz were open to trading former All-Star forward Lauri Markkanen. There was some denial reporting out there. No surprise there, but I stand by mine. The Jazz were deep in talks to trade Markkanen last summer before he signed an extension that effectively made him untradeable last year. Now, here we go again. The Jazz are younger even, with Ace Bailey as part of that mix. They are rebuilding, and there is, in my opinion, nothing that Lauri Markkanen can do that will keep this team out of the Western Conference basement. So I guess 2 questions for you. Do you think the Jazz should be proactive in trying to trade Lauri Markkanen, who's now in year 2 of, or I guess he's in year 1 of the max extension that he signed? Should they be proactive in looking to trade him? And what are the teams out there that should be proactive in trying to acquire him?
They should be proactive. I'm not sure how they ended up in this situation to begin with, because again, you have a team that for large sections of the last few seasons hasn't been trying to win. How do we say this delicately?
They've been tanking.
They've had other goals besides winning, like player development. How was that? Was that good?
Capture the flag.
I don't understand then why you made the personnel decisions you've made around Markkanen, but certainly I would think now you would want to make different ones. I'm looking at my list here of teams. So look, we've had Golden State linked for a while. I don't see that obviously.
No, that ship's
happening, right? So I'm just looking at teams we've had in the past. Your favorite Phoenix Suns, who I know you love that roster and think they're only going to succeed.
What that does
from
for
now
Phoenix,
on,
though, where does Lauri Markkanen get Phoenix? Putting aside what they'd have to give up because they don't have a lot of draft picks to deal. Where does that get them? That puts them right back on the same hamster wheel that Matt Ishbia put them on, where they were just this second, third tier team fighting for a playoff spot via the play-in. Detroit I love. Okay. Detroit was number 1 on my list.
Okay.
The Pistons, they'd have to give up Jaden Ivey.
Yes.
And Jaden Ivey's a really good player, but it should be noted that Detroit played really well last year when Jaden Ivey went out. So you've shown that you can win without him. And you've got some young stars there in that backcourt. Cade Cunningham, obviously there. Oscar Thompson on the rise that could fill in some of those gaps. And you signed some guys. Karis LeVert is there. Duncan Robinson is there. You got some depth in that team. I think a guy like Markkanen as a floor spacing 4-5 for Detroit, which doesn't really have that right now. I don't know. So Isaiah Stewart shooting threes in the offseason. He's not really that guy. Jalen Duren, another big physical guy. They don't have that type of player in that mix. And it goes back to something we talked about with Orlando over the last couple of weeks. The Magic, they went all in on Desmond Bane because they know a player like Desmond Bane can make a difference in the Eastern Conference. A player like Lauri Markkanen with Cade Cunningham and some of the other pieces that are in Detroit, that guy can make a difference in the Eastern Conference. I don't know if they can win it with that group, at least not this year, but Markkanen's 28, so he's not like you're giving yourself a mid-30s kind of guy. You can grow him with this group that's already proven to be that middle-of-the-pack type contender. So I love that deal for Detroit.
Yeah, that's where, if I'm Detroit, they're the ones where I would be willing to make that investment. But it's a strange contract to be taking on, don't you think, for what you're getting?
Well, it is. I think one of the reasons I'm very pro Utah trading Markkanen is because his numbers went down last year. And when I talk to people around him, one of the things that comes up is that it was just really hard for him to get motivated.
How are you supposed to, first of all, you're being sat right and left. How are you supposed to play with any desire to do anything when you know that that there are people within the organization who are rooting against you in essence?
Yeah. And look, like a year before, they got off that really good start. It was fool's gold, but they got off that good start.
Which, by the way, and then remember when they got after the start, what was everyone saying? Oh, the Jazz, they should stop trying to win games.
Calling Danny. I called Danny. I'm like, is this bothering you? He's like, what are you talking? Stop calling me.
Right. Well, Danny tells you to stop calling him anyway, no matter what you call him with. But no, even when they're doing well, there's that feeling right now around the franchise of, I don't know, should we be doing this well? Are we trying to be doing this well? If you're a player in that scenario, I know that players always players don't tank, right? Coaches, quote unquote, don't tank. Players don't tank. Organizations tank. Right. I get it. I think that's actually accurate. However, you can't not absorb what's around you. Yeah. Of course, his numbers were going to go down.
If you're Utah and you don't aggressively try to trade him this year, especially if he gets off to a good start, especially if you start looking like the all-star from a couple of years ago, you're making a big mistake. Like, look at the key players on this franchise. Like, they just drafted Ace Bailey, who's 19 years old.
Calling up the roster right now.
Yeah, I can give you all the names and the ages of the guys that are going to stick around. Keontae George, Taylor Hendricks, Isaiah Collier, Bryce Sensabaugh. These guys are 21. All four of them, 21 years old.
You're not talking about Kevin Love.
Still weird seeing Kevin Love at media day in games in a Jazz jersey, but that's a different story. Kevin Love is a lot easier to deal than Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah.
Why would you continue to keep Lauri Markkanen there when there's no chance he can make a difference? Look, even if he's an all-star, you're not getting out of the basement. You're still the 14th or 15th best team in the Western Conference.
But this is what was strange to me to begin with. And also, yes, fans in Utah like Lauri Markkanen. He is not a sort of, oh my God, there are 10 stars in the NBA who can get people in the building no matter what. Lauri Markkanen is not one of them.
No, he's not.
So you're not keeping him for that reason either.
By the way, the Delta Center, did you see the changes they made to that building? They took away the slope.
They
remember the Delta Center had that almost Intuit Dome like wall, like the way that their thing. Because they have hockey now, I guess they pushed the seats back and made it more conventional. I don't like that. I like the way the fans were on top of the arena out there. But look, the Jazz are going nowhere this season.
Correct.
Markkanen is coming off a great performance at Eurobasket. Like, if he gets off to a fast start this year, there are going to be teams calling about him.
Yes.
You've got to take an offer. I thought the Jazz overplayed their hand last summer when they were negotiating with Golden State. I thought they didn't take the deal thinking that another team with an equally as good offer down the line would materialize. It has not up until this point. So at this stage, I think you got to be aggressive in trying to find a home for him. Let me throw a couple of teams at you that I think are possible. I think Miami could talk itself into it.
Okay.
Another team in the Eastern Conference, they're in a weird spot. I was watching some of the Hawks game the other night. Norman Powell had like the worst third quarter I've ever seen. He had like 4 fouls in the third quarter and missed a whole bunch of shots.
Finding his way.
Miami could talk themselves into it because they want to compete every single night.
Yep.
Can I talk myself into the Celtics making a move on Markkanen?
After all the salary dumping they've just done?
Well, no, but this wouldn't be a deal for now, right? Like, you do a deal at the trade deadline. It would be more of a draft pick deal. You'd move Simon's contract. You've got some other pieces that could be there. Maybe a couple of draft picks get the interest of Austin Ainge. He has a conversation with his old boss out in Boston. They can figure something out. Oh, look, Markkanen, to me, for the Celtics, their interest is that he replaces Porzingis next year, right? So now all of a sudden you've got the Porzingis replacement. You've got Jalen back, get Jason back, get all that group back. So I can talk myself the Celtics being
How dependent are you making decisions on if Jason Tatum's playing at the end of the season or not?
I don't make any decisions based on that. I rule out any kind of championship run this year. Like, could they surprise? Could they be a team that makes the conference finals? Yeah, they probably could. I don't think they get further than that. And even if they did, I think they're getting creamed in the finals by somebody coming out of the West. I think every decision that the Celtics make has to be for the 26-27 season.
What did you think of the Tatum video that we saw this past week?
Great.
And the renewed declarations of,
it was funny. I was talking
to
Tyrese Halliburton this afternoon.
Oh.
And I asked him, like, where's your sizzle reel, man?
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I'm not that far behind JT. He's like, I don't want to put it out right now.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to say you're just trying to be like Tatum, but something's coming. Like, my work is going just as well as Tatum. So I'm thrilled for him, but look, it's just not that simple with this type of injury.
Well, this is what I was going to ask you. Well, if it's hard, I get it. These guys want to play. Every minute that ticks by of their career is a minute they can't get back. Obviously, these were two guys at such the top of their game. I understand. And also, by the way, the team has to be careful not to say slow your roll too much. Their individual trainers have to be careful not to say slow your roll too much because you want to keep these guys motivated.
Yep.
Rehab sucks, man. It is isolating from the rest of the team. You've done stories, I've done stories of guys about their rehab process and what it's like. It is a lonely business, and these guys aren't every day doing what they're used to doing and what they know they can do and what they want to be doing. So I understand keeping that carrot out there of, yeah, man, you could come back. But if I am helping Jason Tatum run his career, if I'm helping Tyrese Halliburton, if I am working for either team involved, I am not letting these guys back on the court this season. It is not worth it.
I don't think the Celtics want to. Look, they have a long way to go before they have to make any of those types of decisions. And I think where the team is will probably inform some of those decisions as well. But Halliburton says he's getting there as well. But like, to bring it back, like Boston, if they were thinking of 2026, 27, I could see them flirting with that if the price was right. And the other team would be Toronto, because Toronto has been interested in everybody. And they are pretty wing heavy right now. Mm-hmm. You could make a deal that might make some sense with young talent, draft picks to get a guy, because Toronto's historically had a very difficult time getting players like Lauri Markkanen, getting max level guys to come and play there. All of a sudden you've got Markkanen, you got Scotty Barnes, you've got Brandon Ingram. Maybe you got something in that mix. But I think the bottom line for me is that regardless of what the Jazz are saying publicly, to me, it would be foolish to not aggressively look at options out there, especially if he starts the season looking like the all-star from 2 seasons ago, because they're going to be teams, whether the ones we mentioned, somebody else, somebody is going to come a-calling with a legitimate offer for Markkanen. If it makes sense for your team in the long term, if the pieces you get back fit your timeline, you got to consider it, because Lauri Markkanen is not going to be part of the next iteration of successful Jazz teams. He's not. He's too old at 28 to be part of a team that's going to succeed in Utah.
But all of this is an undoing of a strategy I did not understand in the first place.
What, signing him?
Yes.
I think having the asset is better than not, right? Like, it's the kind of whole thing we said about De'Aaron Fox. Like, you can still, it's the same type of deal. You can still trade De'Aaron Fox.
Yes, but the Spurs are actively trying to win and get better.
Right. Again, I think it's more about the piece of the puzzle there. Mm-hmm. You've got him on the contract, and you can still trade him now. Now you can look to deal him this season if you want, get draft capital back in return, and continue to sink to the bottom of the standings where you've been for the last few years. All right. Last thing I want to get to, the NBA GM survey is out. Always interesting to hear what all 30 GMs or whoever the GMs are. Sometimes they give those surveys to other people in the organization. I know that, and have them answer it. Yeah. Always some interesting tidbits and what they are in the minds of some organizations. Anything specific stand out to you?
Look, a lot of the things we expected. Who do you think's going to win? We've seen this. ESPN did a survey a few weeks ago. We talked about it as well. Obviously, Thunder is still the pick for a lot of people around the league, inside the league, outside the league. I thought it was interesting that Nikola Jokic was the runaway MVP prediction. Obviously, came so close to winning last season. Denver's record is supposed to be better. We all expected to be better this year. That was what, including myself, I think for you also, the determiner in our MVP vote. My vote was determined by the fact that these guys turned in knockout, and by the way, Giannis also, knockout performances all season. But the Thunder record was significantly better. And at some point that's the name of the game. The name of the game is to win those games, as Herm Edward once told us. So, I think that made a difference. And if that difference isn't there in the same way this year, I think that's why people are safely predicting. I was surprised to see Luka Doncic, though, in that prediction at 7 or 8%, I believe. And then Shea even lower from that. Because if you are going to pick the Thunder so convincingly, the overwhelming amount that people in that survey picked the Thunder to win the title and to finish first in the Western Conference, I think was one of the questions, et cetera. I expect that Shea will have to have another good season to do that, and that they will again possibly have the best record in the league or in the West. So I think some of that's still going to come into play, but I do expect Doncic to have a huge stake in the MVP race this year. And I, of course, expect Jokic. What do you think of that question?
It didn't surprise me. It was like you. It was a tough vote. I think Shea earned it because of the superiorness of his season individually, coupled with the enormous success of the team. And it wasn't like he was just along for the ride. He was leading that group. And he did a lot of special things. The scoring numbers were spectacular. The grief people have given him over the last year, I guess, over like free throw merchant, get into the line. Like, come on. I've said this before, but you take away all the free throw points that Shea made and all the free throw points from everybody else, and Shea still leads the NBA in scoring. So it's not about the number of free throws that he gets every game, but
shout out Matt Templeson for giving you that stat.
Loves that statistic, Matt. But like the numbers Jokic put up were historic once again. Like
by himself, and by himself was part of the factor as well.
Yeah, he's putting up the kind of numbers that either are equivalent to or better than his MVP seasons. So I think it was just a perfect storm for Shea, and I think the anticipation is, to your point, that Jokic will have comparable great numbers, but the gap will be closed between Oklahoma City and Denver. I think the pieces that they got around Jokic are going to make that team better. He's once again going to be a durable guy. Instead of being like 15 games behind Oklahoma City in the standings, maybe they're 5. And I think that will be enough of a gap closed to put people on Jokic's side once again.
No, look, I love watching Nikola Jokic play basketball. If I'm just going to turn on the TV at night, look around the league, and Jokic is playing, I am always checking that game to see what's going on because I just love watching him play the sport. I believe in skinny Luka, though. And I think that there are not enough people quite anticipating what we're going to get from skinny Luka. And I think skinny Luka, I think we are going to see a huge leap from him this year. From a guy who was already a top 3, top 5 player.
I think it could be interesting if they wind up in the top 4 in the West. Like, very rarely do you see an MVP from the back half of a playoff bracket. Like Russell Westbrook did it, in his year. But more often than not, it's a team top 3. Top 4, maybe at the worst. Yeah. If he can lead the Lakers into those top 4 seeds, like a 55-ish win season, even 50, I guess we'll probably do it.
I'm not saying he's going to win MVP. I was just surprised to see him being such a small percentage of that survey. And then it just sort of made me look around a little bit more. After seeing that survey, I was like, oh, well, how are people rating Luka in terms of what they expect from him this season? And the idea of, he looks like he dropped, what did he say in some of those health articles? 20 pounds? Was it something?
So what I heard was that last year he was around 260 peaking. Now he's listed at 244. So he was down about 16 pounds from last season.
That's a big difference when you're running around the court, and all the stuff that we complained about Luka, about like, oh, he's arguing with the official, he's doing that. Some of it has always felt like stalling, right? It has always felt a little bit like I'm tired. It is easier. Also, when you're tired, you get frustrated more easily. Anyone who's a parent of a toddler understands that tired leads to more temper tantrums. I think he will be less tired. I think we will see more discipline out of him. And I think that, he obviously has a lot more to prove defensively this year also, and I think we will see him cleaning that up a little bit more. He's obviously never going to be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, but if, like Jokic, you could start to no longer point to that as a weakness of his game, and that changed for Nikola when he started getting in shape. That is when we saw a big difference in his commitment to the defensive end. So again, I'm not predicting.
Last year wasn't a great defensive season.
Because how much else was he doing?
Yeah,
right.
He was a little heavy last year too.
And yes, and that's a factor, right? Yeah. So I'm not pegging Luka as the MVP, but I do think he will be more part of the conversation than that survey implied.
Okay, if the Lakers are successful, it's going to be in part because Luka has figured out a way to maximize DeAndre Ayton. Luka's figured out a way to make it work in a backcourt with Marcus Smart. Like he's the glue to all of it, in addition to being the engine for it. Like so, yeah. If they're in that mix, I think he's going to have a pretty strong case to be the MVP. Not other than that, the old survey there, nothing really jumped off the page. I did think that the level of respect that GMs still have for Steph Curry is remarkable. Like he was the runaway leader in like best leader, guy you'd want to take the last shot. That was kind of the one
thought that was interesting
to me too. Like usually, I mean, Steph is a tremendous shooter, like the most lockdown shooter in NBA history. But in that criteria, I thought they might have gone with like Luka or somebody that's a little more diverse with his one-on-one game. But Steph is still Steph.
I think the phrase that caught me too. And then I looked again and I thought, you know what? The phrasing of this, who do you want to take the last shot? Yeah. And when the question ends on that word, the answer is
shot. Yes.
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought home court advantage was interesting. Now,
Denver coming up.
Denver and the Thunder tied 43% each.
Yeah.
With the Knicks, I think also again earning a paltry 7 or 8%.
See, I don't like
the self-proclaimed most difficult place to play in the NBA.
The Denver home court advantage, I think, has more to do with the altitude than it does like the atmosphere. Not to say that Nuggets fans are bad. They're not. I'm not getting into Nuggets fans again. I did that a few years ago.
How dare you,
and
sir?
In the finals, they were fantastic. But I think that vote probably has more to do with the altitude and the pressure of playing in Denver. Oklahoma City has definitely established itself as a tough place to play. Like, before, like even in the Westbrook Durant era, like those were like football fans that were trying to connect to the NBA. Now they're NBA fans. Like now you see like teenage kids that know that only that the Oklahoma City Thunder are the NBA team out there.
I think they have a great fan base. I think that what they do, the standing right until the points and the we saw them in the finals. When they have the whiteouts, everybody's dressed in the same color or the blue or whatever it is. It's not in the finals though. I thought that Oklahoma City has such an advantage over Indiana. I mean, Indiana had a
was great too.
Crazy home court as well. I thought both of those fan bases showed out. So while I certainly would say yes, absolutely, Oklahoma City, tough place to play, great fan base. I was a little surprised to see compared to some of the more typically tagged, again, the Garden. I know maybe I'm old school. I lived in New York for 20 years.
I think you're right.
But I still think the Garden is still one of the most exciting places to play basketball and see a basketball game. And when that building's hopping and the fans are into it, I think it is a very tough place to play.
Yeah, I think game for game, like mid-February regular season game, I would still take Boston, New York as the two places that are the toughest to play. Because those are the two places that will consistently sell out and consistently have ridiculously passionate fans every single night. Like the Thunder, to their credit, like Thunder fans, remember they used to do like Thunder sticks?
Yeah.
I hated that. I hated that. When you have to tell your fans what to do in a particular situation, that's not a true basketball fan. They don't do that anymore. That goes to my previous point that these are now hardcore basketball fans that are attending Thunder games.
Do you know who has a really hard time playing in that Boston environment?
Who's that?
The Boston media.
57-4. Corrales.
57-4.
Bobby Manning, all you guys. I saw that video. I'm like picking out guys I know.
You shouldn't play if you're at the final.
You guys got to walk.
No,
you guys
got to just
walk
be
of
like
shame to do
right.
That.
Shouldn't there be a what is it in Little League, the 12-run rule or something?
Oh, slaughter rule.
There's some whatever it is. Yeah. That's what we should have gotten in that game.
Get relegated down. Now you're the B-side media. That's tough. All right, Rachel, appreciate it. We'll do it next week.
See ya.
All right, recording this part of the pod late on Tuesday because I just had to. If you were on social media on Tuesday afternoon, you probably saw some clips coming out of Boston. Not of the Celtics players or a game, but of Boston's coaching staff just throttling a group of Celtics media. Final score of this game, 57-4. And I got to say, from the moment I saw that. I have been consuming every piece of content that has been out there about this game. And I realized I had to talk to someone that was there. So Jay King is a longtime reporter in Boston, writer for The Athletic, Still Potable podcast. I've been trying to think of a slogan for this game, Jay. The beatdown in Brighton, the the humiliation off the highway. I don't know if you have any kind of buzzy catchphrase, but
it was the worst athletic moment of my life. And I've had nothing but bad athletic moments in my entire life. What's crazy is it was supposed to be a media versus media game. We showed up thinking it was a pickup game between media members. And then after Celtics practice, which preceded this debacle, Joe Mazzulla informed us that actually we'd be playing the coaching staff. And I don't think every writer knew just how bad it would be when he said that. But I did. I knew exactly how it was going to go because the Celtics writers, they have some strengths in this world. Playing basketball or any sport is not among them. And the Celtics coaching staff is loaded with high-level players. Phil Pressey, Emil Jefferson, Joe Mazzulla, Deshaun Butler, God Shamgod Jr., DJ McClay. Like, all these guys played high-level basketball. Some of them played in the NBA. Joe Mazzulla and Deshaun Butler were two of the best players on a West Virginia team that made the Final Four, that beat John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. And not only that, they're all in fantastic shape while we're just fat asses who don't play basketball. Most of us never played basketball. And I knew, like, as soon as he said that, we are marching out. We are on the front lines with no weapons. And that's exactly how it turned out.
So you hear this, that they're going to play the coaches, but then you get in the game. Like, how are they playing against you guys?
They pressed the whole time. So Joe Mazzulla, everybody knows the stories of Joe Mazzulla's competitiveness. He was screaming at the other coaches whenever they let up just a little bit. Get up, get up. They hit a 3 to go up 47. It was this was a 12-minute game. They won by 53 points. They hit a 3 to go up 47, and he clapped like they made the Eastern Conference Finals. He put on a show. Honestly, it was impressive for them to play as hard as they did for the entirety of that time while up against people who could not get it past half court. Emil Jefferson after the game was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Like, I didn't want to do that, but I had to." they were like full court running and trapping and pressing and doing whatever they could to force turnovers and get out in transition. At some point, the only mercy they showed was that Joe started calling out threes after they got the ball, which meant don't take layups or dunks. You have to shoot threes. But they made them all. And when they didn't make them, it was Emil Jefferson, who's 6'11", DJ McClay, who's 6'5" or 6'6", and played at Bucknell. And they were just getting the offensive rebounds. And it was pathetic. It was humiliating. I didn't realize just how viral it would go. But yeah, I've heard from a lot of people today, and this is not a good thing to have on my name. Not that my name like was really impressive in the first place at all, but this is a dark mark on even a dark name.
Did you ask anyone after the game why they decided to do that?
No. So all I know is that it was Joe's call to make it the coaches versus media instead of media versus media. It's from what I was informed, there was no discussion of this prior to today, and the first time people heard that it was going to be media versus coaches was when Joe said it. And I don't know why he wanted to humiliate us. It might just be that he's had enough of us asking questions. Might be that he wanted us to see like what high level basketball actually was like. I'm not really sure what his motivations were, but I can tell you he was playing like he was back in the Final Four. Like he was chasing people down from behind, getting steals. He was going crazy after forcing turnovers. He was making sure everybody ran and was pressuring us as hard as they could. And they had like everybody on their team was built to press. Joe Mazzulla he started on a Final Four team because he was one of the toughest defenders in the country. Emil Jefferson, like 6'11", long arms, athletic as hell. God Shamgod Jr., apparently he is a leading steals getter in Fairmont State history, which is D2. He was pressing the crap out of us. Phil Pressey, his role in the NBA was to run the show on offense and also to pick up full court and be a pest on defense. And we have people who probably have never played a real basketball game in their lives, have probably never played against a press in their lives. It was really humiliating, and it was unfortunate. Like I knew just how bad it was going to be, especially when they started pressing full court immediately. I was like, this is going to get as bad as they want, and they wanted it to get really, really damn bad.
I can't think of a single other coach in the NBA that would order a code red like that. Like I can't. I can't think. Like Eric Spoelstra is not ordering that on the Miami media. Maybe I saw. We know what this has led to is like I saw Dave McMenamin tweet out that their media corps would do well against the Lakers coaching staff. So there's now a call to arms to defend the honor of the Boston media.
So to me, it wasn't necessarily that he decided to play coaches against media. It was that he decided to smother us. It was the intensity that he decided to not just play with himself, but to demand out of all the other coaches as well. It was something to behold. It was, I don't know whether he meant to send a message or I have no idea why Joe Mazzulla decided to choose violence today, but it was really like that. That's the part that should stand out to people. Not that he wanted to play the media, but that he wanted to kill the media. He wanted to trounce us, and he wanted to leave our blood all over the Auerbach Center court. And he did. He did.
All right. Who had, of the media corps in Boston, who had the worst afternoon in those 12 minutes? Who had it the roughest out there?
So I think I had the worst 12 minutes, not because I was the worst player out there. I had a couple turnovers. I missed my only shot. But for the most part, it was like I was passing to somebody, they had a turnover, and then I watched Emil Jefferson dunk. but I think I had the worst time because I knew it was coming, and I was not like just happy to be out there playing against Joe Mazzulla. Like I was frustrated to get my head beaten in, and so I would say I had the worst time. There was some we were not a talented crew. We were not a knowledgeable crew. We were a totally unprepared crew, and we all had bad nights. Shout out to Bobby Kravitsky, who had one of the baskets, and Kari Thompson, who had the other.
Okay.
it was a miracle we scored it all, honestly. We didn't. I think we got the ball over half court like once in the first 6 possessions. In the first 6 minutes, I mean, not 6 possessions, 6 minutes. And on that play, I was like with Joe backpedaling on defense, and I started to go at him and then realized like I ain't getting by this dude. I ain't gonna get a shot up here. And so I turned around to circle it back out, and he just pounced on me and stole it from behind. And that was, I think, literally the only time we got it past half court for the first 6 minutes. It was as ugly as it got. I was saying on my podcast, I truly believe that if you would put Brian Scalabrine, who is also in Celtics media, on our team, it would have made minimal difference. Because with the way they were trapping and pressuring, he wasn't going to be able to bring the ball up court by himself. And as soon as he passed it, he was going to be passing it to an absolute scrub who was going to turn it over. And he would have definitely gotten like some rebounds that we didn't track down. I'm sure he would have scored, but it would not have really minimized the damage much to have Scal out there. That's how bad it was. It was the most overmatched 2 teams I've ever witnessed share the same playing field or court in my entire life.
Well, tough day, Jay, but congrats on the content. I know you're going to wrap something up for The Athletic. I know you got a podcast up right now.
My editor hit me up and was like, I think this would do really well, like a first person story. I was like, yeah, sure. If you want to write about the most humiliating event of your life as well. Like, I can't wait to read about that.
We're in the content business, Jay. That's what it's all about. That is great content. I can't wait to read it when it goes live on The Athletic. Appreciate it, man. Lick your wounds, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you bringing this even to a wider fan base than already knew about my shame and humiliation. I've been getting texts from people I haven't heard from in years, just to shit on me, and it's been fun.
Well, there's got like all I saw was the one clip, right? Was it Pressey that made the 3 with the no time left, and it was
Godsham God Jr.
Godsham God Jr. Sorry, and it goes to the scoreboard. Like, knowing Joe, there's got to be better video out there from somebody.
So hold on. So Taylor Snow put that out in the world. Taylor Snow,
that's right. Yeah,
for the listeners, works for Celtics.com. He was too big a coward to actually play in the game, and then tweeted the video of the loss. Like, bro, at least spare us some humiliation.
That's media on media crime right there.
Yeah. I didn't like that. I'm gonna have to have words with Taylor about that. It didn't need to be put out there because especially he did it. It was a really like cinematic tweet with the pan to the scoreboard.
It was well done.
And I think the cinematic nature of it is part of what made it go as viral as it did. Yeah, I'm not. I have an electrostimulation wrap on my back right now. It's a tough day. Tough life, but tough day for sure.